Have you ever felt like you're starting over, but you don't really want to tell anyone? Not because something terrible happened and not because your life completely fell apart, but because somewhere along the way you realized that the life you were living just didn't feel like you anymore. And maybe you didn't have the words for it. You just knew that something needed to change. Maybe that's where I am right now. And maybe that's where you are too. So, hello, welcome back to another episode, or should I say, the first episode of The Gentle Spell. And today we are going to talk about starting over without announcing it. So, again, this is a space for honest conversations about life, becoming, rebuilding yourself, chasing your dreams, and figuring things out along the way. And I have here my journal app because I have already listed the things that I wanted to talk about in this episode. You don't have to announce your new beginning. I think we are so used to announcing everything now, especially on social media, like new beginnings, new goals, new habits, new relationship, new eras. We tell people what we're about to do before we even done it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I've started to realize and wonder, what if some things are better kept quiet? What if you don't need to announce that you're changing? What if you can simply change? You don't have to post, I'm entering my new era. You don't have to explain why you've become quieter. You don't have to tell everyone what you are working on. You don't have to prove that you're becoming a different person. Sometimes you can just wake up one morning and decide, I am going to do things different now. And then you do, quietly. What starting over actually looks like. I think we have this idea that starting over has to be dramatic. You move somewhere new, or you get a new job. You change your appearance. You deleted all your social media. You completely reinvent yourself. But sometimes starting over looks incredibly ordinary. It looks like getting out of bed when you feel unmotivated, applying for the job you've been afraid to apply for, or saving a little money, taking better care of yourself, going outside, reading again, learning something new, and being more intentional about who you spend time with. It's also like saying no, saying yes to yourself more, going after something you've been putting off, and sometimes starting over is simply deciding that you're no longer going to abandon yourself just to keep other people comfortable. I think those small decisions matter more than we realize because a life doesn't change all at once. Sometimes it changes through tiny decisions that nobody else notices. Three is outgrowing your old life. And then this is the uncomfortable part because sometimes starting over means admitting that certain things no longer belong in your life. Certain habits, certain environments, certain relationships, certain expectations, and even certain versions of yourself. And that can be very difficult because your old self wasn't necessarily a bad person. That version of yourself was just who you were at that time, who made decisions based on what he or she knew, loved things that maybe you don't love anymore, someone who wanted things that maybe you don't want anymore. And I think we can be grateful for that version of ourselves without feeling obligated to remain the same. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want something different. You're allowed to realize that this isn't where I want to stay. Next is the loneliness of becoming. But I also think that there's a lonely side to starting over because we are changing quietly and sometimes nobody knows. Nobody sees the internal conversations you are having with yourself. Nobody sees the habits you're trying to break, and nobody sees how hard it is to choose differently. And sometimes you might even wonder, what if you're making a bad decision or you're making a wrong progress at all? Because from the outside, nothing looks different. But I think that the strange thing about becoming is that a lot of transformation happens before anyone can see it. The roots grow before the tree becomes visible. And maybe you are in that season right now. Maybe you're not seeing results yet. Maybe you don't have the job yet. You don't have the money yet. You don't have the relationship yet. You haven't reached the goal yet. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Maybe you're becoming the person who can eventually hold those things, right? Fifth part is that you don't have to prove your transformation. I think this is something I really need to remind myself as well, because you really don't have to prove that you're changing or you have changed. You don't have to convince people that you're different. You don't have to make everyone understand why you're making certain choices in your life. And sometimes people will continue to see you as the person that you are used to be. And that is okay, because they don't have to see the transformation for it to be real. You know who you are becoming. And eventually, your life will speak for you. Literally. Not your announcement, not your explanations, not your Instagram post, but your life. So, if you are listening or watching to this podcast and you feel like you're starting over, I just want to tell you, you don't have to rush it and you don't have to announce it. You don't have to have perfect plan. You don't have to know exactly who you are becoming. Maybe all you need to know is you don't want to stay where you are, and that is enough to begin. Start quietly and start imperfectly. Start with small decisions and then another and another. Until one day you look back and realize you didn't just start over, you build something new. You become someone new. And maybe the most beautiful part of this is that you don't need anyone to witness it for it to count. Did I just write that? Anyways, yeah. Me personally, I am doing this podcast. I don't even know how to do this. And I am still reading my journal because I can't speak straight. But still, I'm doing this because I want this. And I am this close to giving up like a while ago. But yes, I still do this. And I don't even know if this is a, gonna be good, but I am still going to post this because why not? I am not perfect and I am completely okay with that. So, yes, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time and I hope to see you better and growing and growing. You are going to be the best version of yourself. I believe in you and yes, believe in yourself. Bye bye, Starlights.